Great.
Thank you.
Well, if you give me a minute, I will start to share my screen and I introduce myself. Just 1 second, please. Sorry. Did you see the full screen?
Yes.
Yes, perfect.
Okay.
No.
Well, first of all, thank you all for giving us the opportunity to introduce ourselves and to tell you all the program that we're leading here in the Buenos Aires city government. I'm really excited today to be here with you and to tell you all the job that we are having. And also I would like to thank Randstad for the opportunity to meet with you today. So I would like to tell you a few things before starting. You may be asking, what is Barrio Mujica? Barrio Mujica is what we formerly know in Argentina as a villa. This is certainly not an Italian villa, what you might be thinking. This is a word that was used earlier to refer to a really poor neighborhood. So we from the government, I work from the Buenos Aires city government, we decided to start an integration work here that is holistic. To begin with, and to be clear, my name is Mariano Cristoforetti. I'm the chief of staff of this office, and I will be telling you today which is our main objective, that is the integration, the social and urban integration of this neighborhood that it's called Barrio Mujica. It's called after a priest that was in this neighborhood that was fighting alongside with the people for the urbanization and was killed many years ago. So please, if you are not seeing okay the presentation, tell me, I will be skipping.
Mariano,
So,
we are seeing the presentation with the notes. Maybe if you
perfect.
put presentation, it's better.
Okay.
Presentation.
Click on presentation.
Ahora sí.
Click on
Okay.
presentation.
Yes, now. Perfect. Thank you.
Great,
Cool.
thank you.
Cool.
So I would like to start with some numbers. Maybe this is more familiar to you. So today, 56% of the world population lives in cities. This is more than 4.3 billion people. This might not be amusing for you, but 1 billion people lives in informal settlements. This is a huge problem from the whole world population. And just to be clear, this is not just a problem from poor countries or developing countries. Many countries in the world have this kind of problem. This means that we have a habitat problem, right? So we as government and private sector, we all have the urge to tackle these problems. What does the projections tells us about this problem? Well, in less than 30 years, will be increasing. This problem will be increasing. So in less than 30 years, 70% of the world population will live in cities. And this will mean that 2.4 billion people will be living in the informal sector. As I told you before, Barrio Mujica is just one of these examples. This is sad. This means that 1 out of 2 people will be living in informality and with all the different problems that this leads to. So definitely there is something we need to do these days to start working about this problem. And as I told you before, this is not just an Argentinian problem, a developing country problem. Here we have an example at Paraisópolis in Brazil, our neighbor. There is also the Gurian village in South Korea, who has great rates and great developing indicators. And you have here another example of the Kia Sands in South Africa. This is not, our idea is not to point our fingers to other countries, just to let you know that this is a whole world problem. So there is another thing that we were discussing with Miguel last week. Buenos Aires city, we would like to tell a lot of things about this city, but first of all, I would like to tell you, I will do like a go forward and back because I think it's clearly this way. But we are here. We are in the extreme south of South America. You know, there are huge countries around us, Brazil, Bolivia, Peru. Well, we are the very south of the Latin America, and the Buenos Aires city is where you can see that dot. Buenos Aires city has one of the best quality indicators in the region. We have a great lives indicators. The per capita income is one of the best in the region, but this is not enough. Also, 200,000 people reside in informal settlements alongside the Buenos Aires city. I will try to speak slower because I think I will miss some of you. Sorry. So this is a huge problem for our government and for the city, so we have to start working on it. In 2015, the Buenos Aires city government made a decision to start working on these informal settlements and with all those people that live in the formal sector. And we started here at the Barrio Mujica, and as I told you before, it was known as Villa 31. It's a really old settlement. It came from like 1930, where the first migrants came and settled here and start like growing in an uncontrolled way without access to many of the essentials like water, electricity, roads, all those indicators. So here is a map where you can see where is the Barrio Mujica and the size of it. As you may see, this is the downtown from Buenos Aires, and you can see that you have a huge train station, the terminal, the financial center, government house, the obelisk. So there's no way people don't see the Barrio Mujica. Barrio Mujica is iconic. Maybe it's the most iconic informal settlement in the Buenos Aires city. It has 40,000 people living on it. So there was no way that the government and the people and all the tourists, everybody sees and knows Barrio Mujica, because as you can see also, there is a highway that goes across the neighborhood. This highway connects with the main street in the Buenos Aires city. So to give you some numbers also, in the Buenos Aires city lives 3 million people. So it's a huge city. And also there are coming and going every day other 3 million people that comes to work, that came from the suburbs, from the Buenos Aires city. So this was to give you like a quick and fresh information about the neighborhood, where it's settled, where it's its location, which is crucial because, as you see also in the map, Recoleta is one of the most expensive neighborhoods in the Buenos Aires city. So the contrast here is really sharp. When the government made a decision to start working on the Barrio Mujica, they ran a diagnosis in 2015. The results were, as you may see, shocking. 21% of the homes were overcrowded. There were no public schools. There were more than 900 informal shops, 76% of job insecurity, 68% of the adults they don't have the high school, and there were more than 1,000 families living under that highway that I mentioned before. So it was really clear that someone has to do something in this neighborhood and in all other poor neighborhoods in the city. So, as I told you before, in 2015, the government made a decision to start working. This is an actual picture of the neighborhood, so you may see the new departments. This decision, based on the diagnosis run in 2015, the government made a decision that the integration of this neighborhood must be holistic and in different ways. So it has to be urban, social, and economic. And spoiler alert, in the economic section is where we work alongside with Randstad and all the great team that were making a great effort and achieving great results in all these days. Well, the holistic way, we have a lot of work to do. In 2015, we have the diagnosis, we have the information, so we have to start working on it. So the government in 2016 started working and walking the neighborhood, because we also know from previous experiences that if there was a way to integrate the neighborhood, it was with the neighbors. It's not just the work for the government, we have to do it alongside with them, and it's not just the government, it's with the private sector too. So I will be like telling you a few things. I don't want to bother you or you with some numbers and all this information. I will show you a few pictures too, so you can get to know a little bit more of the neighborhood. Okay, I will start with infrastructure. We built 17 kilometers of new infrastructure. The neighborhood didn't have connections to pipes, sewers, sewages, drainages, clear water. They were all informal connections. So the most urgent things was to work on the infrastructure, and all this began with this huge site in the neighborhood, sending the new pipes, starting the big aqueduct. We are now in the final step. We finished the big one. We are just connecting small houses to the net. So this was the most urgent things. Here you can see as it was before we started our job, and now that we have the intervention, there were no pavement in all the neighborhood, and every rain makes a mud disaster. People had a lot of problems getting out of their homes. Imagine there's not just dirt, or you have a problem. Maybe you have to go to work. You can't wear the same pair of shoes, and you might have another pair of shoes that is more expensive. So maybe that things that we were used, people were not. So this was urgent. You may remember the highway I told you before, and the 1,000 people that were living there. Well, we are finishing nowadays the process of relocating all those families to a new houses that we'll be showing you later. And we are making a real big, like a square, not square, it's just, we call it plazas here, but it's like a big open space where people can go and enjoy. You may remember I told you before that there were like overcrowded homes, and they're really small ones. So public space is fundamental for the families to have a place to be. We're finishing this process, and nowadays, as you see, there's a new public space that is going to be one of the most big in the Buenos Aires city. We renovate 26 spaces along the whole neighborhood, so people can have little spaces near their homes to enjoy. Here's another photo. The one on the left may seem black and white, but no, it was just a rainy day. There was a football field and all the container sites. Well, nowadays we turn it into the place where we build the new homes, and we start building alongside the neighbors the new football sites. You may see a basket court too. Well, infrastructure was one of the early stages. The second one was housing improvements. What we believe here is that we have to work on existing buildings, taking care of those that were like more humble or have some risk. We intervene with them, we work with the neighbors, we give them tools and materials to rebuild some of their houses or to improve those that were in good conditions. Roughly 90% of the houses are staying where they are, and we are working with them to make the improvements. Just 10% of the neighborhood is relocated from different places, most of them under the highway, to the new houses that we build. I like to show many pictures, so I hope you don't matter. But you can see on the left side what it was one of the homes. This is, we worked on improvements on this one. We didn't relocate them. And as you can see, they have their new kitchen, painted, clean, with secure connections. So we work along with the neighborhood. We help them. We have a program that is called Housing Improvements, but we have different orientations we can give. If the people have like the quality and the tools to make themselves the working, we give them the materials and we help them with an architect. If they're not, if they don't have the capacity and the structure is on risk, we intervene with our team, we move the people temporarily, we rebuild that house, and in some cases, we also generate like new homes for people that have other problems. So we use like stock. We can build a home over another home with the permission and the agreement of the neighbors, and we have a new place where you can live. Well, these are the new building facilities I told you before. They were originally themed to the population that is under the highway that we are finishing. So most of them are empty, are occupied. We still have like 12 families that we are still struggling to help them to relocate to this process. You can imagine it's not easy for them to leave their houses, move them. This place is just 3 blocks away from where they live, so it's not just that traumatic. But as the previous government efforts from other time, it was trying to move the people away from this place. This government made a decision that the neighbors should stay here, and we are building these places near. This is a picture of what it looks before the highway. You can see at the top is the highway where the cars run, and above them there was all the houses built under the highway. This was the way they used to live. Nowadays, this is empty, and we are building that new public space that I showed you before. This was a house that was under the highway. You can see there was no light, there was no ventilation, there was nothing. And on the right is the same family in their new house. Public schools, there weren't in the neighborhood. So the government take the decision of build 3 new public schools to get the child. We focus on the primary school and preschool because we thought that families need a place where the kids can be, so they can have the opportunity to go out and work also. Also, this is what you see on the right is the education ministry. This was an initiative of the government to move the whole ministry into the Mujica, so people that works here can come and go every day and start making this integration a real one. On the left side, you can see the place where it used to be the containers deposit, now is in the education ministry. The same problem was with healthcare. There were a few basic healthcare places. We make an improvement. We set an emergency base also for the emergency services. And we have like their clinic history in digital documents. So everyone has the information if they go to a public hospital or to the healthcare center near their homes, their whole information will be in the system. This is another example. On the right, you have this health center. On the left side was an abandoned building that we rebuilt and make it this place. Well, sorry for being so long. We get to the core of what we are talking today, and of the central piece. We call it the touchstone of this integration process, where, as I spoiled before, we work alongside with Randstad. We work in different lines of working. We work with the training of the people, of the neighborhood. As I told you before, there were 40,000 people living here, so you can imagine the economic power of this neighborhood. There were 900 informal jobs. We work in a job bank. We help people to prepare their resumes. We make it in the job bank, and we work with companies that helps them and make the brave decision to be part of the solution of this problem. So we work also on financial inclusion. We work hand to hand with entrepreneurs on this neighborhood, and we help them to thrive their economies. And we also encourage other companies to settle here in the neighborhood. We gave them the conditions to set their commerce and to hire people from here. And of course, as I told you before, the public-private partnership is fundamental in the way to work the economic integration and to finally make an integration a real one, so people don't have, they can thrive their economies. We have an office here, it's called the CEDEL, is where people have a reference, they can go there, and our team is working with them. We have trained more than 15,000, these numbers get old day by day. So we train and help people to the process of getting jobs. We believe that lack of opportunities many times is the problem where people can't progress. So we are trying to help them to get those opportunities. And as I told you before, this is not alone, it's just with the private sector. How do we work private and public partnership? Maybe Miguel will explain you later, but job orientation is a key process here. We practice the interviews with people, we help them to build their resumes, and we prepare them for their real interviews where they will be like gambling and trying to get those jobs that will take them not out of the neighborhood, because we believe that if the conditions are okay, they may stay here in the neighborhood but get a job outside the neighborhood to start getting the formal life and start giving the kids the opportunities that they may not have. We also work with cooperatives. This is our small unions of workers here in the neighborhood that have different kind of jobs. We work every day with them to help them to be more professional and to help them to get another opportunities. Also, we do the same with entrepreneurs here. As I told you before, it's full of people that it's working day by day, all day long, and we are helping them in this way to be more professional. And also a key stakeholder here are the new companies that can settle here in the neighborhood, hire people here, and start making this like fluid people coming and going from the neighborhood. This place should stop being a scary place for people outside the neighborhood and be a thriving and a nice place to come and visit, because as you may know, we have like a cultural mixture here. We have many people that came and settled here in the neighborhood, came from different places from our country, which is big, as I showed you in the map before, and also there's people that came from our neighbor countries. So the cultural mixture here, it's really interesting. So one of our projects is to work on the tourism. That is a really strong economic income here, to make it a place where people will feel like the need to come here and know what is the Barrio Mujica. I skipped something and I remember it now that may sound silly, but it's not. The streets in the neighborhood didn't have a name. They were like road number 2, road number 3. And that may sound silly, but it's not at all, because not having an address, it's really complicated for people to get a job, for example, or get a place where your where to receive your mail. So we start a process with the neighbors we will a cooperative information. We prepare names for the streets and the numbers of their houses. This was crucial. I'm the one with the jokes, but the streets had no name, and I'm not talking about you two. They didn't have, they really don't have. But nowadays they have, and they get a piece of names of their cultural information, and all with names of people known here in the neighborhood. These are some of the companies that are brave enough to be part of the solution and are helping here in the Mujica. So as you can see, Randstad is our host here, and these other companies that are helping in the economic solution. Thank you. I hope this wasn't boring. I hope you can understand me. I did my best, believe me. Here you have this code. You can scan it. You can get the information I showed you before. And well, I'm open to the questions later. Now we are going to listen Miguel, I believe. And again, thank you all. And this was a great opportunity from us to show you what we've been doing here.
I enjoyed that tremendously, Mariano. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Amazing, Mariano.
That's it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So
Well, thank you.
I stop sharing. It's okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
Cool.
I'm going to share my screen. Oh. I have this, I can't move this. Yes. Okay. Do you see it as a presentation? No.
Not yet. It's not the presentation.
Oh,
Can you
I
see
see
my screen?
I see the slides.
Yes.
But
You
not
need
in a
to put it
presentation way.
in. Yes, presentation. No.
Now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes. Great.
Perfect.
Sorry.
Yes. Okay.
Ready? Miguel?
Well, hello everyone again. Now we are going to tell you from our vision of Randstad Argentina and how we have worked in the recent years in relation to the labor inclusion in Barrio Mujica. Next slide, Rose. Without first, not forgetting to thank this prestigious University of Randstad for the space it had given us to be able to tell from our eyes what we can do for others. And in such a sensitive moment that we are living in this world today, our vision is to build a better world in the world of work, which is what we are dedicated in Randstad at a global level. Well, this is my video. Please pass it quickly, Rose. Next slide.
Okay.
Okay, this is important. Sustainability developed goals, United Nations. To begin, we tell you that the action in relation to sustainability that we have been carried out from Randstad Argentina and Uruguay are aligned with the sustainability development goals by United Nations. In this presentation, we align with the end of poverty, search for equal education, promoting gender equality, in search of the economic development and decent work, reduction of inequality of opportunities, and seeking to protect our planet from the negative impact of climate change and the search for strategic alignment to be able to carry forward the achievement of this such ambitious and necessary goal for the global society. We're in a quite a complex moment at this moment. Next slide, Rose. Thank you. Now, immersing ourselves in our organization, Randstad Global, we are seeking to touch the life of 500 million people around the world by 2030, trying to build the best normal in the world of work, seeking diversity, inclusion, and promoting equal opportunities for everyone. The next slide, Rose. Mariano showed slide. It seems to be like this. This photo that we present is one of the digital photos with some camera filter. An effect allows to visualize the most important avenue of the city of Buenos Aires, in my opinion, of course. This photo is not here by chance, because as we mentioned earlier, the downtown of Buenos Aires is in a couple of kilometers from Barrio Mujica. It's really, really near. Perhaps this photo helps us to understand the importance of the integration of Barrio Mujica with the rest of the city of Buenos Aires, of course, Argentina. And it helps us to understand that it's an ambitious project that we started a few years ago, and today this initiative, like an idea and with a good plan, has become our dream. In the next slide, now we are going to immerse ourselves in today's talk, where we want to show you how the Labor Inclusion Project, as a public and private initiative between the government of Buenos Aires City and Randstad Argentina and Uruguay, was conceived. We're going to show you a video. This video that we will below reflect the size of the challenge faced together with the public and initiative private. Can you show the video, Rose?
Yes, I'm trying.
Don't worry, we know it's quite complex.
Yes, here it is.
Thank you.
There are 48 traditional barrios or neighborhoods in the city of Buenos Aires. However, the increasing population and lack of accessible housing led to the appearance of many informal settlements. These barrios are commonly referred to as villa. It is a challenge for them to be considered an ordinary neighborhood. This is the case of the slum known as Villa 31, one of the oldest informal settlements in the city. It was set up in 1932 with the arrival of European migrants who worked in the port and railway. During the following decades, several unsuccessful attempts were made to eradicate and relocate the settlement. Instead, this shanty town expanded to accommodate new families, generating vibrant social and economic activities. However, densification brought about overcrowding, lack of basic services, social vulnerability, and environmental threats. Today, the barrio's 35,000 residents living in 8,500 households are about to experience a historic transformation.
Okay, oh, I can't.
This is the video that we use to share what are we doing at Barrio Mujica to all our consultants in our internal team. Okay. Next. Well, this is our workspace, where together with the government of Buenos Aires, we develop our activities. It is a central place within the Mujica neighborhood where they allow us, thank you for the Buenos Aires government, to locate ourselves in order to seek to have an impact on the talents that we seek to accompany in the labor inclusion. I show this photo since location was a central issue for us. In general, this space for multinational companies such as Randstad are all easy to acquire, given that due to the precariousness of the urban settlement. It is difficult to obtain authorization for some basic resources, considering that we do not have a proper property title or be able to generate a contract. In fact, the land did not have real owners, and being able to coordinate a location with all the necessary resources was one of the many complex what we had to overcome in order to be there. In the next slide, okay, this is the CEDEL. Well, this is our place. This is the place where we can arrive with the government of the city of Buenos Aires. This is the CEDEL. They were able to advance with our two objectives, with two central, some objectives with two central axes: entrepreneurial development and employability for all social and age segments. And as we say in Randstad, we have two mantras. I don't know if you want to, you know, what I mean, but it's to be able to guarantee the sustainability of all the projects. The first mantra is the search for a transversal integration that includes commercial opportunity and social sustainability. Mariano told us some information about that. And the second was the implementation of a system integrity within the Mujica neighbor. We are not visiting the Mujica neighbor. We are in there and we are working with them, and we really love to integrate this neighbor to all the city and our internal process. Next slide. And why we get involved? We were convinced that could look for a talent within the neighborhood. We want to get involved and include ourselves in our candidate base. We want to be there, operate from the neighborhood, work in place to be able to make real contract, find out what the candidate needs and understand really their desires. We understand that marginalization was something that they live daily, and it's really strong, what I say. And that is that was a time to, how we say in Randstad, move forward the problem. We seek a positive, we were seeking for a positive social impact, allowing people to enter the formal labor market and be able to count on all the benefits and resources that this implies for low incomes people and of course their families. As a central axis, we be a bridge between the needs of our clients, it's important, and the needs of the candidate and talent. We work as a bridge from other sides. I would say at Randstad, we help companies find the talent that they need and help candidates find the job of their dreams. That's the words that inspire us to move forward. The next slide, how we start. How do we start? But always for our engine to start, we need a spark. Well, luckily, at this moment, we are using electrical motors. We don't need sparks, but we're trying to use electrical motors. We generate the first visit in the Mujica neighbor with the coordinators. We work with the governor of Buenos Aires, accompanying in the search for organizations that come to contribute their energy to accompany the development of the neighbor. We work together with companies that are direct competitors with us, such as Manpower Group. Everyone knows Manpower Group and Randstad, of course. We use even their office, trying to find candidates for us. It seems quite amazing, but we work together with them. And then we decide to take part in the project and work already installed within the Mujica neighbor, really work in there. Next. Okay. And this is our differentiating proposal. We can think about our differential service proposal, working on site. So we decide to stay on site. Talent search as the main asset of our business. As you know, that's what we dedicated. Get involved in the really of the candidates, how they live, what the expectation, and what they think about the future of work. And as I told before, trying to be a bridge of contract between talent and the company that requires them. Mariano told, give us some information before. Next. Well, screening of labor profiles in the area. how we start doing that job in Barrio Mujica. We start to look for information to understand the social level profile of the neighbor. Mariano gave us some information before. We analyze these profiles, crossing them with our demands, of course, the demands of our clients. And we confirm the potential in the project because we knew we might find candidates. So that was really important for us. In the next slide, you can see some information about the profile of our candidate. These are some of our records of an example of what profile we find when we immerse in Mujica neighbor. In relation to, we have some information about the relation of education level and the sector where they were seeking to get in the formal labor market. In the next slide, we can see information about candidates and other records about nationality or the range of age. In the next one, you can see some information. Yes, that's right, that's gender. We have some information about gender and look at the latest registration as a large percentage, more than 75% did not have a job. That was really, really impactful for us. You have a current job? No, more than the 75% of the population that we interview. That information, this slide really gives clear a good reflect about the needs of the inhabitants of, and imagine the emotion that we can generate with the government of Buenos Aires and Randstad by giving them just an opportunity to enter in the formal labor market. Well, in this slide, we're going to tell you just some words about the process. What was our approach process? First, we registered in the CEDEL, in the Buenos Aires government. Then we put 2 Randstad units. Unit is not a physical unit. It's a team that works in there. 2 Randstad units in the CEDEL to be able to work in place in Mujica's neighborhood. The first was in charge to help to build a curriculum vitae, we say here in Argentina, or Zoom in English. The second, to help the job search with the tips and recommendation of an interview. That was not a formal interview. We helped them trying to understand what the importance of an interview and how to go drive it. So in one hand, we help them, and in the other hand, we use the interview, trying to help them to find a job. To reach the third place, where they can arrange interviewing with the company that demands their service. So the first time, we get with 2 units in the neighborhood. The second chance, we help them making a resume and help them to how to drive an interview. And in the last part, we match companies and talents trying to find the job. How we do it? We use 2 kinds of interviews. Interviews in place that we were driving in the CEDEL office, and in the other side, we start, of course, as you know, here in the pandemic, everyone needs to work virtually, so we start virtually interviews too. That was really amazing. The next slide. Thank you, Rose. Well, process, continue with the process. 2 steps. First, this was the 2 major steps that we used. The first, a voluntary work approach that allowed us to become interested in the reality of Barrio Mujica. How can I say it? We need to immerse in the reality of the Mujica neighbor. Okay, that was the first situation. And the second, to be able to include the place within our formal recruitment process to the region, okay? Before this, we were not working with the talent of the Mujica neighborhood. Next slide, 29. Let's talk you some information about results. We got to study the territory, took a pilot test, and ended signing an annual framework agreement together with the city of Buenos Aires. So far, we have, at the end of one round, 1 year, almost 600 interviews, 80 hires, it's a lot, and 10 training sessions. I told you before, we were working with some, helping them to have a good interview with clients. In the next slide, follow up with permanent clients. Here we have some spec outcomes, like training candidate in a specific demand of labor market, help going them straight to the point that what the labor market needs. Teach the candidate to buy a resume and look for a job. And in the last one, help the candidate to find a really dream job. That was the three steps that we do there. And as a mantra, always searching for our dream. Our dream in Randstad Argentina and Uruguay, and we share it with the city of Buenos Aires, is to touch the life of our candidate and help them to find the job that they dream. In the next slide, we come right to the success model drivers. And I think this is one of the most important information. First, a public and private partnership that, as you can see here, we are really alignment of that. Take profit of the strength of each partner. And in the third step, the importance of vulnerable candidates and their change to get a job. That was really, really important. You can drive it in an easy way. You really need to immerse in the process. You really know what they think, what they want, what they dream. And you need to take care about the vulnerability of the situation. And if you drive all that parts, I think in other side of Argentina or in other country, you can do a good job. Well, some strength of the projects. Fluid, continue with the slide before. Fluid public and private partnership. The great commitment of Randstad with our client to build a relation with customer and introduce candidate to the formal labor market. That was not so easy at the beginning, as you know. Randstad helped to reduce the lack of the system. That was part of our what we think it could we can get a good impact. As I told you before, Randstad wasn't the only private company working in the Mujica neighborhood, but was the first one in place. We put 2 units, a marvelous team of the staffing area of Randstad in Buenos Aires working in the neighborhood. And in the process of recruiting and interview, all the branches, all our units were working in place. That was really important. In the next 3 slides, okay, this one. Here is one of our amazing manager, Franco Carino. I think he's here in the meet. I don't know. I'm smelling that he's here. Maria Laura Castelli, Anne-Marie Moons. She's our #1 in public relationship here in Randstad Global. Next slide. Well, the left side is our ambassador, Jacques van der from Holland, no? Yes, it's our role is our ambassador. Jacques van der. Yes. Rose?
Yes.
Jacques
yes,
van,
yes.
okay, it's ambassador. Jacques van der Broek is our global CEO at Randstad. And in the right side, you can see Andrea Avila, our CEO of Argentina and Uruguay. Marina Levin, Jorge Figueroa, he's here he's our public affairs director, and of course our global CEO. Next. Well, they are working in place. This is they are interviewing here, our units. Next. Well, some conclusion at the end of this call. In Randstad, globally, we employ 670,000 people each day. As you know, it's a lot of people. We could not be proud about the result of this process. We do not impact on the work life of our communities. This is one of our mantras in Randstad Global. We have to empower the training and giving all some job opportunities. All labor inclusion project needs the two hands, the two sides, the public and the private articulation to guarantee great impact and to impact in a sustainability way. As it's some work from Jorge Figueroa, our public affairs director. Only in this way we can work toward a world where nobody is left behind. We prepare you a short video, Rosarita, you can play it. And you can hear, no, don't worry.
Oh, excuse me, that I have to get out
Yes.
from the
Yes, don't worry,
presentation. Yes.
Don't worry. It's important to share this video.
Para mí el trabajo significa una oportunidad de desarrollo.
Una oportunidad en la que puedo conocer gente nueva, estar en diferentes ambientes.
También un aprendizaje porque uno aprende todos los días, se va capacitando.
Y una oportunidad pues para poder vivir el presente de una forma más cómoda.
En Retiro tenemos el CEDEL, que es un acompañamiento para poder conseguir trabajo.
En el cual yo puedo acceder a varias entrevistas de acuerdo a mi perfil.
Yo llegué por medio de una amiga. Ella me dijo que en el CEDEL podía conseguir trabajo.
Me recomendaron ir hasta CEDEL porque ahí también imparten así tipo de cursos gratuitos y esa cuestión, así que me acerqué hasta allá y por suerte estaba el curso que quería hacer, que es de reparación de celulares. Ellos me llamaron para ponerme una cita en las oficinas de Randstad y pues nos comentaron de qué se trataba el empleo y pues me llamó bastante la atención, sobre todo por la cuestión de los horarios, ya que para poder complementar, ¿no?, con estudios y esa cuestión. Así que bueno, nos comentaron de qué iba el trabajo, cuáles eran las condiciones. Como digo, me pareció bastante bueno y así que bueno, ahí me quedé porque me gustó.
Como principio entré a un curso que era introducción laboral, lo cual ahí me enseñaron cómo desarrollarme una entrevista, cómo armar un CV y esas cosas. Y CEDEL me brindó la oportunidad de una entrevista con Randstad, que era una agencia para el área de atención al cliente.
Actualmente estoy trabajando en Ciudad Cultural Conex y gracias a la empresa Randstad pude conseguir el trabajo.
Hace bastante que estaba buscando trabajo y Randstad me brinda esta oportunidad de poder trabajar por la tarde.
Thank you, Rosarito. And well, the last slide. We are living in a quite complex world at this moment, and we just want to say something at the end of the talk. We want to tell you that in the city of Buenos Aires lives one of the largest community of Ukrainians in the world. 150,000 people who have found a place where they can live in peace and harmony. Our heart is always with the searching for the peace. And well, that's all. Thank you very much, everyone, and have a nice day.
Thank
Thank
you.
you the conversation twice.
Absolutely, Miguel. Thank you very much for the wonderful overview of the social projects. And we can open the floor to students' queries, comments. Yes, the floor is yours. Those of you who followed attentively.
I have a question.
Yes.
So in the presentation, you said that Randstad helps to reduce the lags of the system. What would you say is the biggest lag that you felt with this project?
We have we are going to use our Maria Laura will translate because here in this presentation are some important people from Randstad that work really in the first day of the process. So I think that Jorge, Rosarito, or at least Franco Carino can respond you about that. Maria Laura, can you translate the question?
Sí, of course. La pregunta fue que vos mencionaste que había unas cuantas faltas, carencias, por las cuales ustedes querían dar cuenta, y ella les pregunta cuál de esas carencias es la más importante.
Jorge, ¿querés contestarlo vos?
Yes, sure. Well, the main problem for the population in neighborhood is the discrimination from the company, because the neighborhood has a bad reputation. Yes, so in this case, the main importance for Randstad is to be the bridge between the people and the companies to less the leverage and to be a reference for the people. Yes, so then the other skill that we develop are the interview, prepare the virtual interview to train the people and to do the skill to do enough a tool to develop other skill, other opportunity for the ingress in the formal labor market. Yes, so we trade with like say the talleres, workshop to reinforce the different tool for the people. And well, I think that the main support is to be an opportunity to ingress the formal labor market, and to be a reference for the people, for the first shop or the young shop, because they don't have experience or other reference. And well, I think that is the main issue to do equal opportunity.
Yes, in that sense, I want to add that some companies that are our clients generally want to know where people live in order to have them very near, but near the place where they're going to have to go to work. And in that sense is what Jorge said, that there is some kind of discrimination because of the place where they live. In that sense, we are the bridge because we have the clients that ask for the candidates, and we are working to them to make those barriers lower.
Okay, thank you very much.
Are there other questions? I have one on trust. I mean, how difficult or easy was it to gain the trust of those living in the barrio? Because you are, after all, a private company.
Is that the question? Well,
Yeah.
ella está preguntando, dice que tiene una pregunta sobre la confianza, que qué tan difícil o fácil fue lograr la confianza de la gente del barrio, dado que están en el sector privado.
Well, again, the first issue was the private and public articulation and working together with the Buenos Aires city government. And my appreciation is that the team of the Buenos Aires government and the CEDEL is very, very professional, and there was the bridge between the private and the population to the trust bridge.
Thank you.
In the same line, I say it was a kind of trust for us also to get in the neighborhood, because some way it was dangerous for us. So we have the assistance permanent of the government of the city, and they had a meeting point outside, and they get in together until we were known, and we can do it alone now. But it was a kind of a need of trust from both sides at the beginning.
Good point. Thank you very much, Roberta. Any other questions? Priscilla.
Well, I do have one question as well.
Okay, let's take Priscilla's question first. Her hand was up first, and then I'll come to you. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much. My question is for Mariano. Mariano, you mentioned the economic integration and the public-private partnership, and then you mentioned elements as job orientation, cooperatives, entrepreneurship, and new companies. I would really like to ask you how these elements interact between them to make this project Barrio Mujica succeed.
Well, thank you for your question, Priscilla. Well, as Miguel and Jorge and Rosarito told you before, the way that all these things work together is with the government working as a bridge. We talk with Randstad, we talk with companies, we talk to the people in the neighborhood. So we try to build that trust and to build that common place where people feel comfortable to come here. And I don't know how to explain it very well, but it was distrust and fear what keeps away the private sector, the companies, and also the neighbors from the private sector. So we have to work really hard on rebuilding that trust and giving them this bridge to take the opportunities. So in a way, it's the Buenos Aires city government that it's the one that it's like working with all the points, like bringing the best from one and bringing the best of the other, and making all them work together in our dream is all working together here, settle in the neighborhood. But in some ways we have to be flexible, and we start like working with one, bringing the other, and joining all them together. I don't know if that answers your question. Please feel free to ask another one.
Thank you very much, Mariano.
Priscilla, I want to add also that the government of the city of Buenos Aires is working with a lot of private companies inside the neighborhood, and they have some characteristics asking them, for example, when they are going to settle inside the neighborhood, they have to hire people from the neighborhood. So they work in a lot of things that all together help people to get better places to work and to get into the formal work, besides what we are doing as private companies.
Thank you. Shall we take Gijs's question? Yeah.
Yes, sure. I was wondering, because this is a very large project, I can imagine, to help 40,000 people. I was wondering, what have you all learned from this experience? Because I think Randstad and your other party might have learned something from this, and I was wondering what it was. Thank you.
Dice que siendo un proyecto tan grande, hubo un problema de sonido que se me cortó, pero entiendo que lo que pregunta es ¿qué les queda a ustedes de semejante proyecto? ¿Qué ganan ustedes de esto?
A nosotros.
Wow.
No especificó quién era yo.
I think it's for everyone. We can respond in part. For my side, it
yes,
was
sure.
a really an amazing process. We think that we need to work harder because we don't have just one Barrio Mujica neighborhood here in Argentina. We have a lot of neighborhood, and no in the Buenos Aires city, in all the country. So it could be a good way that we can use this leading case, trying to export it to other side of Argentina. This is for my side, of course. Mariano, the floor is yours.
Yes, for us, it's like, as Miguel said recently, this is just one of the informal settlements, maybe the most iconic, as I told you before, but this has to be like the first step of many steps. We have like, I don't know, I don't want to talk about national politics or stuff, but half of Argentinian population is under the poverty line. So this might be one of the first of many steps of many neighborhoods where we have to work just to rebuild society. We believe, as I told you before, that this holistic integration is not just to fix one problem and run away. We're trying to make the Mujica one of the many neighborhoods of the city, and they have the same possibilities and the same privileges of the rest of the city. And we hope that for the rest of the settlements, the government is working in other settlements too. I believe Randstad only works here in Mujica, at least for now.
Thank you, Mariana. Rosarito?
Yes, I wanted to add also that as a private company, besides we are working in the objectives of the sustainability goals that we have and we search and we look forward to increasing in our company. The candidates or the resumes or the people are our income in our process. Now we have the clients and we need people to work in the clients. And it's important for us to increase our bucket of candidates in order to offer them to the clients. So we are working there, we find the candidates there, we have very good talents there. There are people that are studying at the university, the profiles. There are some profiles that are good, and we are working to train in some areas where we have more demand. For example, the merchandisers of the supermarkets, people from some specific clients that we have in some moments, so we can work together with CEDEL and the government of the city of Buenos Aires to train people and to offer them formal jobs. So we also gain from both sides. We have the incomes and we can supply to our clients what they are asking for.
Thank you, Roberta. I'm just curious if we have an example of a practice that didn't work that you amended to make it work. So learning from something negative. Do you have an example of that along the way? Surely this was a dynamic process.
That was our secret.
Oh, shucks.
I think we have a lot of them. Not a lot, but some information that we can share to you. I think that Jorge and Rosarito, and of course Mariano, can say something about that. María Laura, ¿querés traducir la pregunta?
Yes, sure. Ella pregunta, dice que le da curiosidad saber algún caso que no haya funcionado, para ver qué se puede aprender a partir de allí, de la experiencia negativa.
Si quieren, yo empiezo. Okay, so as Isa said, that was our learning path. Certainly, we made many mistakes, but we learn from all of them. And I believe that the most important one is working with the community. In an integration, in an organization like this, if you don't work alongside with the community, you won't have success. We didn't finish the urbanization, and we are roughly 6 years working, but definitely working with the community is the key to learn and to progress, because we mistakenly believe that they may have nothing to teach us, but that's really wrong, because people that can live in the way they live, in the conditions, and in many years, they certainly have a lot of things to taught us. So we learned that along the way, that working with the community and learning from them, as also we can teach them, is the way. So the mistakes is the key to the progress.
Thank you.
María Laura, lo voy a decir en español y lo vas a tener que traducir, pero creo que
Bien.
había un científico muy conocido que decía que cuando se equivocaba había encontrado un camino por el cual no tenía que ir.
Okay.
Creo que fue Fleming.
Miguel is saying he wants to say it in Spanish and he wants me to translate. He thinks he remembered there was a scientist, probably Fleming, who said that when there was a mistake, it was a time to try and find a new path. Sí, Miguel. ¿Cómo sigue, Miguel? Okay. That's it.
María Laura, si me traducís.
Sí, cómo no.
Creo que yo lo vería más desde el lado de que el camino que hemos recorrido desde la primera prueba que hicimos de este proyecto para escanear las posibilidades y cómo podíamos ajustarlo a nuestro proceso, y el posterior trabajo que hicimos hasta hoy, ha sido un camino de éxito en términos de que hemos ido aprendiendo a trabajar en conjunto con el gobierno de la Ciudad de Buenos Aires y a ir mejorando. Creo que desde el... traducí hasta allá.
He says that the path they have undergone since the beginning of the project till today, working, it's basically a path of learning to work together with the government of the city of Buenos Aires. Seguí, Jorge.
Sí, y creo que fundamentalmente el secreto ha estado en el compromiso y ponerle el corazón a este proyecto. Por eso la idea de trabajar desde adentro para que todos estuviéramos involucrados. El secreto estuvo en las personas, como el caso de Noelia, que es digamos, el referente del día a día, del operativo, del seguimiento, y del lado nuestro, María Laura, Franco, que son los que le ponen el corazón y le ponen el compromiso a que esto vaya avanzando y vaya mejorando.
Okay, he says that he believes the secret to this experience has been the commitment all those involved have shown, and also that they put their heart into the project. He mentioned Noelia, who is a person that is in the day-to-day operating of the whole project. And well, again, the question of putting the heart into the project and making it your own.
Sí, y después, bueno, de parte de lo que es Randstad, el orgullo de trabajar en una empresa que día a día ayuda a las personas a conseguir su mejor trabajo. Y en particular, en este proyecto que atendemos poblaciones vulnerables que tienen mucho más dificultades para ingresar a un trabajo formal y registrado.
And he also mentions how proud they are because they're working in a company that day to day commits itself to helping people obtaining their best possible job. And of course, especially in this project, because we're talking about very vulnerable people.
Absolutely. You know, this also makes your business model and practices really difficult to transfer to other settings, right? You mentioned putting your heart in the project. That makes it very specific to the settlement that you're working at. So if you're working with other local governments, Mariano, I can see the passion there, is really committed. But working in another with a local government elsewhere in the country, you might not get the same level of passion. So then it's very difficult to transfer what you do in Barrio Mujica to some other place. Would you agree or disagree?
Ella pregunta si ustedes estarían de acuerdo con que encuentra que es difícil transferir este modelo de negocio que es tan específico y que destacó, por ejemplo, la pasión de Mariano en este proyecto, a otras locaciones donde probablemente no encontrasen la misma pasión en ese lugar. Entonces preguntan si ustedes están de acuerdo o no con que sería difícil transferir este business model, este modelo de negocio a otro lugar.
Yes, I want to say something. I want to, it's different to say difficult, impossible, complex. Okay, there are different words. It really is complex. It's not as impossible. What's the meaning of difficult? Yes, of course, difficult, but it's possible on the other side. So we think that this model is a leading case that we can do in other places, of course, in a different place with the different, perhaps language, culture, or other thing, but in fact, we can say, okay, we can do it. And we have a real example what we can do when we work together with public, private, public interaction, where we really love what we are doing, when we really see the impact in what we do every day. And you can say, if you don't mind, you can see what we do, and you can go there and see the slide that shows Mariano after and before. This is in fact what we can do. When we put our brain, heart, and muscle in trying to drive the society for the next step.
Thank you very much.
For my side.
Thank you, Rosarita. You're muted, Rosarita.
I wanted to add that in this case, we shared this activity with the government of the city of Buenos Aires that had a clear goal of working in the settlement or changing the settlement into a barrio. In that sense, they also give them a name. What they didn't have, they were called Villa 31 and we say Villa 31, and now they changed the name to a neighborhood, as every neighborhood of the city has, and that make our path simpler, I can say. Even though we were learning with them how to do, we were invited as many other private companies were invited, but they made the path with us. We shared all the things we did together, and they have a group of professionals dedicated to help all the private companies through their goal. So I think in that sense, they made our path simpler and we could learn together. But we are open to reply this experience in any place, and I hope we can do it. There are a lot of people in settlements in Argentina, as Mariano and Miguel said.
When we were preparing this call, we have a short meet with Mariano and his team, and we put a search in Google Earth. We said, well, let's look Google Earth, Barrio Mujica. What we find? Villa 31. they did not change the name in Google. So we make a request to Google saying that this neighbor is not called Villa 21, this neighbor is Barrio Mujica, so please change it. So we need to start for the beginning. As I told you before, it's really complex, but Mariano told the experience of they don't have name of the streets. That's what you say, Mariano. Well, the neighborhood don't have the correct name. That's a strong battle that we start, but at the end, we think that it would be a really, really very important in case that you can use in other places, and of course with our help.
Thank you, that's informative. Do we have any other questions or comments on the floor? Priscilla.
Thank you, Aisha. Yes, I have a question, but it's something that you didn't mention. It's just to know, or just in case that you know something about this. Because in the Randstad webpage, I can see the use of the artificial intelligence to match the profile of candidates with the needs of candidates with the needs of the companies. So, do you know how this artificial intelligence is being used for making this project successful and for scaling the impact?
Ella dice que ustedes no mencionaron este tema, pero ella pudo ver en el website de Randstad que ustedes utilizan inteligencia artificial para machear los perfiles con los candidatos. Y pregunta si ustedes saben cómo funciona esto. Realmente no sé si utilizó el condicional de cómo funcionaría el barrio Mujica o si lo está preguntando en general. Le puedo volver a preguntar para que lo clarifique, porque
it's clear. I really don't know how it works. We know that we use this system, not yet in Argentina, okay? So it's not impacts in Barrio Mujica, but in other sides of the world, we are still working with that. And I think that, I don't know how the algorithm works, of course, nobody knows. It's speak about intelligence, artificial intelligence, or learning, machine learning, or it's, you know, there are 3 or 4 phases to implement it. But we can say you that we really take care about what does the machine do, okay? And that in the mantra practice, we don't allow to discriminate or make some or allow the computer to do something that we don't want to reflect within our policy company. Okay, we need to talk with the technical support. I don't know how to explain it, but we know what we don't want the machine to do. Okay. And I don't know if Jorge or can explain more about that, but I don't have much information about that.
Yes, the intelligence artificial is a good tool to accelerate the process of the search and selection. And in Randstad, we're working hard to apply the ethical process to put the word key for not discriminate for different attributes. Yes, it's a well tool, a good tool, but the danger is that you program the key with the discrimination aspect or attribute. Yes, I know that our compliance department working hard to develop the ethical aspect to cuidar,
Cuidarnos.
take care of the not discrimination aspect.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
If there are
Welcome.
if there are no further questions or comments, I'll say going once, going twice, going 3 times thrice. I will close the session. I would like to thank our guest speakers, both from the city of Buenos Aires and Randstad. Thank you so much once again for accepting our invitation and honoring us with details of this project. And I hope we also going forward in the future get more updates from you and then get to see you again with our future cohorts. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you very
Thank you
much
for inviting
the
us.
opportunity.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
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 Bye.